Hello and welcome to this tutorial, and in this tutorial finally what we are going to do is that we are basically going to create the Google Maps activity so as to show the different locations on our application. So basically we are done with the first option, which is the gallery. We are also done with the testimonials. We are also done with the contact us. Now the final thing which remains is that we basically need to add the locations, like where basically the properties listed by the builder are actually present. So in order to display locations, what we are going to do is that instead of just manually displaying the address on the activity, what we are going to do is that we are going to create a Google Map activity. And after creating Google Maps activity, we are basically going to add the coordinates of the point where the property is actually present by saving the latitude and longitude of the location, and basically we are going to display these locations on the map. So the next thing which we do is that we create a brand new activity, which is nothing but the Google Maps activity. So we go to the app folder, go to Java folder, go to this folder right here, then we simply right click on it, go to new, and we select an activity which is nothing but the maps activity. And I think instead of going into activity, we should go to the Google, and we have the Google Maps activity listed over here. So once we select the activity, let's name this activity as locations, then simply click finish. And what this thing is going to do is that it is going to create a new activity. And even before using this activity, what we need to do, or we need to get an API key for this. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to obtain the key for the Google Maps, and that is because we actually need to have a key, API key, which we get from Google. And if you don't understand how it is done, I've already made a tutorial on it in the Google Maps application section, so make sure that you check it out if you haven't yet. And the entire procedure of obtaining a key for our map application is actually demonstrated over there. So I'm going to basically pause this video, get the key, and I'm basically going to paste the key inside our application, and then we are basically going to code this activity, which is nothing but the locations activity, in order to actually display the markers on a particular location. So now basically I am back. So what I basically did is that I have created a new key, which is the Google Maps API key, and I've added this key into my application. So if you haven't done it, I recommend you to do it, and that is because if you don't add a key to your application, you won't be able to access Google Maps. And the reason for actually having a key is that it basically is used for security reasons, so that no person should actually misuse the Google Maps. So basically we need to obtain the key for security, and also don't ever share your key with anybody else. And the reason for that is that if somebody else misuses your key, so you would be basically responsible for it. So once the key is added, the next thing which we do is that we proceed with the locations activity. Now, as in the locations activity, we want to display multiple locations where our property is actually present. So in that case, what we do is that, as you could see, if you go to the locations.java, in the onMapReady method, this thing right here is nothing but it is a pointer, or let's say it is a marker, which is added to this thing right here. And what we want to do here is that instead of pointing the marker towards this location, we actually want to point a marker to the positions where our actual properties are present. So in order to make it so, what we do is that we go to Google, and then basically we type in the name of our location. So let's say, so I'm going to type in my location, and after this we switch to maps. And what we do here is that we find out the exact coordinates where the properties are present. So let's say we want to mention 3 coordinates, so the property is basically present at 3 locations. So let's say the property is actually present at 3 locations. So in that case, what we do is that, let's say we have a property which is present on this road right here. So what we do is that we simply click over here, and as soon as we click right over here, we are going to get the exact coordinates like this. So if we click it, we get the position, but instead of clicking on it, what we do is that we actually want the coordinates of this point. So we are going to select this point here. We are going to right click on it, go to inspect element, and then basically we actually want these coordinates right over here. So we are going to simply copy this coordinates. So I'm going to copy inner HTML, and basically we have the coordinates now. Now instead of these coordinates, we are going to put in our own coordinates over here. So we go right here and paste our new coordinates. So once we have the latitude and longitude, what I did is that I have changed the name of this latitude longitude. So I have named this as property 1, and I've replaced the occurrence of Sydney with the property 1. So once this is updated, the next thing which we do is that we also update this marker right here. So instead of, let's say, marker in Sydney, we call it as property 1. So once we are done with this, we save the code and we try to run this application on the device. But even before running this application, we actually need to add in this location.java activity into the navigation activity, so that when we select an appropriate option for the navigation or for the location, this activity gets started. So we are basically going to copy this intent right here and we are going to paste it in locations, and instead of test.class, we are going to replace this one by location.class, or let's say locations.class, as we have locations over here. So once we are done with this, we are good to go. Now we are going to run this application on our device and we are going to check if it performs correctly. So we save the code and we run our application on the device. So as you could see, the application is up and running on the emulator, and if we click the navigation menu and if we go to our locations, as you could see, we actually got the location exactly where we want it. But the thing is that the map is actually not automatically zoomed in. So basically what we want to do is that we actually want to zoom in the map instead of showing the entire world's map. So that's it for this tutorial, and I hope you guys understood how to add the Google Maps activity. And there is a little bit of problem in the Google Map activity, and the problem is that whenever we start the Google Map activity, instead of focusing or instead of zooming in on the current location, what it is doing is that it is basically like displaying the map of the entire world. So actually we don't want it, and we need to actually zoom it in into a single position. So in the next tutorial, what we are going to do is that we are going to add multiple locations to our Google Map application or the Google Map activity, and we are also going to make it zoom to a single position. So that's it for this tutorial, and I hope you guys understood how to actually add in a Google Maps activity. So thank you very much for watching this tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Thank you.